All right, how we doing, game design students? I don't know why I'm asking you that because you can't answer because this is a video. But that's okay. I am showing you in this video how to make a start screen using a separate layout and separate event sheet. Okay, so how this is going to work is we have here, this you can use any game you've already created. It doesn't really matter. I just have the turret one open. That's in the turret design video stuff. But what we're going to do first is we're going to create a second layout. So we have our layout one, we have our event sheet one. Okay, we're going to right click here on layouts and click add layout. It's going to ask, do you want to add an event sheet for this layout as well? Yes, we do. We want to add event sheet. And that is going to pull out a layout 2 and an event sheet 2. We are going to call this layout 2 our start screen. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and rename this start screen events. Okay. Pretty straightforward. You see here in the top right corner, I have my start screen and I have my start screen events. Now, your new layouts will copy the exact same settings as your old layout. So if you look here, my layout is actually, it's 3840 by 2160, meaning it's 3,840 pixels wide by 2,160 pixels long. But my actual game, right, my viewport is 1920 by 1080, or it's half the width and half the height, meaning it's 1/4 as big. So what I'm actually going to do, since I don't really want anything to scroll on my start screen, I'm going to go ahead and change its size to 1920 by 1080, okay? And that's just high definition, 1080p. You'll hear that a lot. There it is. And so that shrinks my thing way down. So if I go back to layout 1, is it goofed up my whole thing here? Oh, it's because I'm clicking layout 1, I'm not actually looking at it. There it is, right, up in these tabs. Easy mistake to make. So here's my layout 1. You'll see it's still full size, but my start screen is way smaller. Okay. On my start screen, you usually want this to be a menu, to have the title of your game, something like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to double click, and I'm going to search for text, and I'm going to type it right. There we go, text. I'm going to put it right here, okay? And I can make this text pretty big. I'm going to come down here, and instead of it saying text, I'm going to have it say turret game. Oh my goodness, but you look at that, that's way small. We want to make our size, right now it's at 12. Let's make it 10 times the size. Let's go 120. Okay, pretty good, 120. And I can mess with all sorts of stuff. I can change the font to be something else. Let's make it Algerian. Turret game. We can make it bold. We can make it italics. Italics looks all right. Nah, it doesn't look that good, actually. I'm not going to do that. I can change the color to be whatever I want. Okay. What else can I do with text? I can center it. So I think that center looks a little bit nicer. Okay. Yeah. So here we go. And this we'll just call my title. Title text. Okay. Because remember, everything in my properties panel over here, or these are my properties panel, my project panel, I want it to have a name, right? Except for things like the tiled background, because that's pretty straightforward. That can just be the background. But I have my title text here, okay? Another thing we want to add, okay, we're going to double click. We want to add a button, right? I'm going to insert this button. Right here's fine. I'm going to call it start button. Okay, so my button, I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Let me kind of center it here. Okay, now, the text of the start button is right down here again in your properties. Okay, I'm just going to make it say start. Okay, there it is. Okay, my start button. We want to make it initially visible. We want to make it enabled. Auto font size. If I uncheck that, actually I don't know what that does. Probably should have looked that up before making the video. But don't worry about that. Okay. Different types of button. There's also a checkbox, but we don't want a checkbox. We want it to be a button. Okay. There's a button that you can click, and it will take you to the thing. Okay. Some other kind of things we can add, okay, is maybe you'll add some animations. You can add several different buttons. Remember to give them descriptive names. But let's add some decorations or something here with this. So I'm going to go ahead and add in a sprite. I'm going to click over here, okay, and I'm going to open something. You can see all my wonderful pictures I have of things. There we go. I'm just going to go to the 2D platformer assets. I'm going to pick out just some of these player things, just because this is an easy animation we've done before. But I can just pick walk 5. Okay. And I'm going to loop, and I'm going to ping pong. Cool. And I can make this guy bigger. Put him over here. Okay. Perfect. Now when I run this, watch what happens. Oh man, I have these little decorations of my name. Is this super nice, good looking? No, but it's fine, right? It works. And I have my button that I can click. Now, you might be like, cool, we put in the button. What does this actually do? Well, we have to program the button. So we're going to open up our start screen events, and we're going to add an event, and we're going to click on our start button. And on clicked, when we click our start button, okay, we're going to go to our system, and we're going to search layout, and we're going to click go to layout. And the layout we're going to go to is layout 1, which is our actual game screen. So watch this. I'm going to start up my game. Here's my turret game. I'm going to click start. Look where it takes me. To my game layout. And this is my turret game. Oh, man. What a good turret game. Okay. So there it is. That's really all it takes to set up a screen. The big things with this, just make sure that you're giving them descriptive names, because as you start to create, let's say you want to create multiple levels and you start to get layout 2, layout 3, layout 4, it's good to start giving them descriptive names like start screen, okay? Maybe I'll rename layout 1 right now to game screen. And event sheet 1, I'm going to rename this to game events. Okay, to give them descriptive names. And when I rename them, it'll update them in any events they're already being used on, right? Now, what if I'm working on my layout of my game and I click play? What's it going to do? It's just going to start me on my game. It will automatically start you on whatever layout you are on. Let's see if this still works. There it is. Boom, explosion. Great. So here's what we want. We actually want to click on, this is to get it to start on the start screen every time. Click on turret. Okay, and that is going to take you to the properties of your actual game, okay? And if we go down here to startup, the first layout it's going to load into is default, meaning whichever one you have selected on the screen. What we want to do is change it to start screen, okay? Meaning the first layout is always going to be start screen. Anytime I start it up, well, okay. Sorry, doesn't quite work like that. This should do it. There it is. Okay. If we're still on the layout, that's my mistake. If we're still on this layout, it should still load you in that layout. But let's say you're on an event sheet. Okay. It's going to start you on the start screen. Why is it not doing that? Ooh, this is maybe a little bug. Maybe something I have to work on. Go to the start page. What will it do? Okay, there we go. Interesting. 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 Well, hopefully it'll work. Yeah, it seems like it's working all right. Okay, well, hopefully I'm not leading you guys astray with my video here. That's always worked for me in the past. There's probably a reason. It seems like if I'm on game screen, it's still loading game screen. If I'm on game events, still loading game events. But if I go to anything else like my start screen, start events, start page, it should load this up. And the big thing is when you make sure you have this property filled out to the first layout being start screen, when you publish your game to, let's say, the Construct Arcade, to the App Store, anything like that, that's where it will start up. So you want to make sure you have that properties there, okay? Pretty simple, but this is what I'm looking for, right? Just a nice little start screen, okay? Have a title, mess with the text a little bit, have a start button, have a couple little animations, and then make sure it starts on that start screen by getting your events. And then I also want you to click on this properties over here. So your screenshot, if you're in my class here, that I want this event sheet, and in that I also want to see the properties panel with that start screen being your first layout, okay? Should be pretty straightforward. You can start to do this to all of your games that you're working on. It's really important to have a good user interface when you're creating a game, and it makes it a little more straightforward. If you're like, hey, I like this start screen idea, what can I add to it? Well, you could add some more buttons that take you maybe to an options menu. You could have a button that shows you the controls of your game, right? You can start to add more buttons and start to add more and more layouts for different levels or for different screens, okay? It's time to start diversifying your game a little bit. And if you have the full version of Construct like you do in my class, okay, you'll be able to have unlimited events and layouts and things like that. So, and I really recommend the full version of Construct 3 is really great. You can do so much with it. So that's my plug there for Construct, I guess. let's see. I think that's about it. So if you have any questions, let me know. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.